Hello, our lesson today is about the cell. Everything related to cell, its kind, its shape, its functions. Let's start with recalling some information that we took them in the previous classes. We took that living things, they can be of different kinds. We have animals are living things, plants are living things, we have bacteria are living things, fungus, they are living things. And we took that all living things, they have life, they are alive because they are made up of tiny parts called cells. So any living thing that we have it on Earth planet, it is living thing, it's a living because inside its body we have cells. Now, what are cells? Cells, they are very, very, very tiny parts. They are very tiny things that cannot be seen by our naked eyes. And so, to see them, we must use an instrument that is called a microscope. Okay, so cells, they are so tiny things found in the body of all living things, whether they are small living things or they are big living things, they are plant, human, animals, or bacteria. All of these, they are made up of cells. So that we can say that cells, they are the building blocks of living things because cells, they build the body of living things. Now, let's continue. We said that animals, human, and bacteria and plant, all of them, they are made up of cells. Now, if I want to make a classification for the animals or for all of the living things, so we have living things, they are animals, they are plants, and we have the human. All of these, they are living things. Now, human and animals, as you know, they have the same body parts or the same body structure. That means that human and animals both have a brain. Human and animals both have heart that pumps the blood to all the body. Both of them, human and animals, they have a brain to control all the body actions. Both of them, they have organs for breathing so that they can take the air and release the carbon dioxide. Both of them, they have eyes to see, they have a nose to smell and breathe, they have ears to hear, they have legs or hands. So we share, as a human, we share some characteristics with animals. That's why all of the cells that are in the human, they are also found in the animals because our bodies perform the same function. That's why all the cells that are found in the human and in the animals, we call them, they are animal cell. So either the living thing is animal or it's a human, all of the cells that are found in their bodies, we call them animal cell. This is the first kind of cells. The second kind of cell, it's only specific for the plant. So plants, because they have a special characteristic, which is they make their own food. So they do not eat, they make their own food when they mix the ingredients together: air, sunlight, water. So all of these three ingredients, they will be mixed, and so plants will make their own food. That's why they have a special kind of cell that we call it plant cell, since they are plant. So all the plants, either they are flowers or trees or bushes or grass, all of them, all of the cells that are found in them, we call them plant cells. Why? all the human and all the animals, they have cells. The cells that are found in the bodies of human and animals, we call them animal cell. So that we can conclude that we have two kinds of cells that are found. These two kinds, they are plant cell and they are animal cell. This is the animal cell that we find it in every animal and in every human. This is the form or the picture of the plant cells that we find it in every part of the plant or in every plant that makes its own food. Let's start with the animal cell. First of all, let's study it. In order to study the animal cell, we will use a microscope and we will put any cell that we choose it from our body. It can be a cheek cell, it can be a blood cell, it can be bone cell, muscle cell, whatever, because all of them, they have the same parts. And if we look at the animal cell under the microscope, we will see that it has an outer membrane or outer covering. This outer membrane, we call it cytoplasmic membrane. So now I am reciting the parts of the cell. Okay, so every part, it has a name. The name of the outer covering of the animal cell, wherever it is found, it's called cytoplasmic membrane. Then inside this cell and under the microscope, we notice that we have another circular part found at the middle or inside the cell. This central part, we call it nucleus. So the outer covering, it's called cytoplasmic membrane. The central part that is round shape inside the animal cell, we call it nucleus. The space where the nucleus is found and lies, we call it cytoplasm. So the animal cell, it has, or it's made up of three parts. The first part, we call it the cytoplasmic membrane, which is the outer covering. Just like any room, it has walls. And the same here, the limits of, or the border of the animal cell, we call it cytoplasmic membrane. And you have only one border, or one outer covering. The central part that is inside the cell and it has a round shape, we call it nucleus. The space where the nucleus lies or where it is found, we call it cytoplasm. For every part of these, we have a function. So every part, it performs a specific function that helps all living things and helps the cell to do its own job and to make living things to be alive. First, we will start with the nucleus, which is the central part. Because it's the central part, the nucleus, its job is to control the life and activities of the cell. Everything that the cell performs, that the cells make, it will be controlled by the nucleus. You can say that the nucleus is the boss of the cell. Every action the cell will do it will be controlled by the nucleus. The second part, which is the border, we call it cytoplasmic membrane. Cytoplasmic membrane, why do cells have cytoplasmic membrane? They regulate the cellular exchange of material. As you know, cells, they are living. They are things that have life. So in order to stay alive, they need oxygen and they need the nutrients. So in order for the oxygen and the nutrients to go inside the cell, we must have a part that looks like a door that will open to let the oxygen and the nutrients go inside. This door, we call it the cytoplasmic membrane. That's why we say it regulates the cellular exchange of material. So when the oxygen enters, for example, the cell through the door, which is called cytoplasmic membrane, the cell is going to use this oxygen. At the end of using the oxygen, I will have a product that is called carbon dioxide. Just like when we breathe, we take in the oxygen and we breathe out the carbon dioxide, with the same for the cell. At the same time, carbon dioxide, it must go outside the cell, because if it remains inside, the cell will not work properly. To go out, the door, which is the cytoplasmic membrane, must open. That's why we say that cytoplasmic membrane, it helps the useful materials as oxygen and the nucleus to enter, and the carbon dioxide, which is a waste, an unwanted material, to go out. This is the meaning of regulate the cellular exchange of material. So as if the cell talks, give me oxygen and I will throw out the carbon dioxide. So here I give you just one example about one material that enters the cell, which is the oxygen, and another material that leaves the cell, which is carbon dioxide. Finally, we have the cytoplasm, which is the space that fills the inner side of the cell. So cytoplasm, it's the cell body where the main cell life processes take place. Yani, when the oxygen enter into the cell, it will enter here into this space that is called cytoplasm. When the cell takes the nutrients to use them to give energy, to produce energy, this action happens here, which is called the cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm, it's the body of the cell where the nucleus is found, and all of the job of the cell happens here. Yani you can say that cytoplasm is the office of the cell. All of the work will be done inside the cytoplasm. So to summarize the animal cells, they are found in the bodies of human and animals. Animal cell is made up of 3 parts: nucleus, cytoplasmic membrane, and cytoplasm. These are all of the information about the animal cell.